Welcome to the Show Boys Newscast, where we bring you all the news and no opinions. My name is Mike.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for joining us, and we got a lot to cover, so we're just going to get right to it. So Nick, why don't you start us off with our first piece of news?
Sure thing. So we have a Game of Thrones prequel news. House of Dragon release date is revealed. Announced back in December, the HBO series is set to release in 2022. House of Dragon draws inspiration from the George R. R. Martin's novella Fire and Blood. The series is slated for a 10-episode season, announced in October of 2019, with Martin, Vince Geraghties, Ryan Condal, and Miguel Sapochnik as executive producers, and Condal and Sapochnik, I'm butchering his name, poor guy, also serving as showrunners. Watch, he's probably a woman too. Series will star Patty Considine, which will be Viserys Targaryen, Matt Smith, Prince Daemon Targaryen, Emma D'Arcy, Princess Rhaegar Targaryen, and Olivia Cook as Alicent Hightower. HBO has stated they plan to flesh out the Game of Thrones universe with multiple spin-offs. Related,
go ahead. No, I was just about to say, similarly related to Game of Thrones and HBO, what do we got here? This is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting, coming quite some time after all this is wrapped up. I guess it takes a while to get the news out, but HBO viewership dropped by 38% after the finale of Game of Thrones. So after a pretty kind of choppy last season, which more or less everybody that watched Game of Thrones watched anyways, fans kind of put their subscriptions as their kind of voice there and pulled back pretty hard there, which is understandable.
Yeah, I found that pretty interesting. As someone who's never seen Game of Thrones, I can't really comment on it, but with this news of, multiple spinoffs, maybe I should get on board.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
No,
so,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, while we're on the topic of HBO, they have an upcoming pirate-themed comedy series, which is brought to us by Taika Waititi, the great Taika Waititi. This series is called Our Flag Means Death, and is set to star Rhys Darby. Both Rhys and Taika having worked together on Flight of the Conchords and the movie What We Do in the Shadows, not to be confused with the show of the same name, which is also a Taika Waititi project. The show is loosely based on the true adventures of Stede Bonnet, a pampered aristocrat who abandoned his life of privilege to become a pirate. Our Flag Means Death is being written by David Jenkins, who will also be the executive producer and showrunner. The first episode will shoot once Waititi's next installment in the MCU, being Thor: Love and Thunder, wraps in production. So this series kind of sounds like it's far out, as I think the Thor movie is not slated until 2022 or something like that. Speaking of Waititi, busy man that he is, he also had another new comedic series ordered by FX called Reservation Dogs. This series follows 4 Native American teens in Oklahoma who spend their days committing crime and fighting it. Reservation Dogs will star... man, you thought you had it rough with your Game of Thrones names. Watch me butcher all these ones. Reservation Dogs will star DeFaro Woon Atai, Devery Jacobs, Paulina Alexis, and Lane Factor. Taika is joined by Native American writer and director Sterling Harjo on the project. Taika, just little Mike to Taika talk here. Would you please calm down, you madman? I'm still waiting for season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows. Please just finish season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows.
That man is extremely busy.
Yeah, not to mention, stuff he did on Mandalorian.
Exactly. He's part of several brain trusts, it would seem.
Yes, deservedly so. He's a great mind.
Yeah, definitely. Making lots of money. Onward and forward, we have a pair of, I would say, game slash fantasy related news here. Got a pair here that are exciting, definitely new to each of their respective spheres, but Amazon's Lord of the Rings series has reportedly finished filming, according to an IG post by director Ja Bayon. No release date yet announced. However, there are a few details that have revealed regarding the content of the series. Allegedly, the show is set in the Second Age, which we've known for a little bit now, being a 3,441 year period that includes events like the forging of the Rings of Power, including the Ring, that one, which was made by Sauron, the War of Sauron, the beginning of the Ring Wraiths, and the Nazgul and all that fun stuff, the island of Numenor sinking into the ocean, the development of the elven city of Rivendell, and the great battle between the men, elves, dwarves against Sauron when he first started to rise to power and become the big baddie. Some of these scenes were shown in kind of like I believe it was the Two Towers beginning openers where they kind of showed everybody fighting Sauron, the ring actually getting cut off his finger. So it's going to expand more on that period because Lord of the Rings is set in the Third Age. This will be of the Second Age, which is, I believe, considerably a larger period of time with a lot more history. Tolkien really did a lot of writing and a lot of thinking.
I mean, it seems like I don't know, almost all of the different events that you listed could be a series in itself. So
yes,
they definitely have quite a bit of content to pull from here.
No, for sure. And I could even see them doing something with what they're looking to do with Star Wars and like The Mandalorian, like several shows, all which interweave with each other. Recently, I've seen The Mandalorian, Ahsoka spinoff, and the Squadron one, the Rangers, being considered kind of like a new trilogy, if you will, a trilogy of series that all go together. So I could see them doing something like with that because they have a lot of content here to cover.
Right. And what a company to do it with, the company that has endless amounts of money. So real excited about that.
Yeah.
What's the next little fantasy news you got here for us?
So branching away from Amazon, but still in the sphere of fantasy, originally as a game, The Elder Scrolls is reportedly moving to Netflix with a series based on the Elder Scrolls franchise. That's all according to insider Daniel Richmond. Really big budget, reportedly set to have about 150 million per season, which is decent. I mean, that's in movie. There's movies that are that expensive, like big ones. And then Bethesda also announced earlier this year that they're working on a Fallout series for Amazon using the Westworld team. So that's all a nice blend of gaming IPs mixed in with some very established series and movie makers, both Amazon and Netflix. Those are obviously the big hitters. So that's definitely plenty of stuff for both those companies to throw lots of money at.
Yes. It's interesting that Bethesda would use two different services, right? I found that interesting when I was looking at this article.
That it is interesting, but I would almost say that is maybe kind of an offshoot of what each of those studios might be interested in. I could see Netflix being interested in an Elder Scrolls IP because Amazon already has Lord of the Rings.
True.
So they might not want to double down on the whole fantasy thing. Right. Whereas Netflix,
already has The Witcher.
They collect everything though.
Yeah.
So
True.
I could see, Amazon with the whole Westworld thing, especially with the Westworld team, that just seems like a good marriage for the Fallout series as well. So
yeah,
I would say that's people playing to their strengths, and that might be more so the studios or the companies here pursuing Bethesda and not the other way around.
Yeah. At any rate, I'm excited for Amazon to be getting some, big name, series here.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is huge.
Lord of the Rings, and then if this Fallout series goes through, that's going to be huge too. So good for Amazon. They need to step up their game, and it sounds like they're doing just that. So our next item on the docket here is a rather large one. Marvel unveiled its Phase 4 plan, which runs through 2023. So they they gave us 26 titles, and
A through Z.
Yeah. And they all have at least a vague release date. So buckle up, because here we go. WandaVision, a new TV series, Disney Plus, that's coming out actually on the 15th. So don't have to wait too long for that series. Critics have already kind of giving it, rave reviews so far. So we'll see if it holds up with the audience. I'm sure it will. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the next series that is slated to release, and that is up on March 19th, 2021, also on Disney Plus. We have a movie, Morbius, about a vampire in the Sony Spider-Man universe, and actually, since preparing for this episode, the release date in the article that I found was March 19th, 2021, but that actually has been pushed back to October. So that actually kind of, I think, benefits the movie since it's kind of spooky related. Now it's back in October. I think that'll be nice. Next up, we have Black Widow in May of 2021. That will be another film. Loki, summer of 2021. I believe that is a series, could be a movie. Can't recall off the top of my head at the moment. We have Venom, Let There Be Carnage on June 25th, 2021, another movie. Another film slated to release on July 7th, 2021 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Next up, we have the series What If in the fall of 2021. Then we have the Eternals movie in November 5th, 2021. Then we have Miss Marvel in late 2021, a new series on Disney Plus. All the series will be on Disney Plus, obviously. We have Hawkeye in the winter of 2021, Spider-Man 3, December 17th of 2021, She-Hulk, another series to Disney Plus in early 2022. Moon Knight, I believe, is a movie, early 2022. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, an oddly specific date for, a year from now, March 25th, 2022. Thor, Love and Thunder, May 6th, 2022. I love how, these movies that they plan on releasing in 2022 and 2023, some of them have specific release dates. I always find that funny. Just a random side note. Black Panther 2 moving forward, with the news, obviously, they will not be recasting King T'Challa in honor of Chadwick Boseman. It is believed that his sister in the movie, Shuri, will be taking the mantle of Black Panther. Either way, it will be exciting to see what they do in the sequel, as the first one was pretty dope. This movie's slated to release July 8th, 2022. Next up, we have Blade, and that will be slated for an October release in 2022. Captain Marvel 2, the movie we've all been waiting for, November 11th, 2022. Armor Wars, which I am not sure if this is a movie or a show. This is also slated for 2022, along with the next 3 titles being Ironheart, Secret Invasion, and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. The last 3 titles they announced are Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania in 2023, a Fantastic Four movie in 2023, and the third installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy in 2023. Also related to Marvel news, Deadpool 3 has been confirmed to be a part of the MCU and will stay R-rated, which is kind of interesting. Those who are fans of the Deadpool movies and the MCU have been wondering what they're planning on doing with the next Deadpool movie, and if it was to be included in the MCU, if it would stick with its R-rated nature. And it looks like everyone's going to be happy because we get the best of both worlds. A few more pieces of MCU news while we're here. There's a rumor that Toby Maguire is allegedly acting like a diva about his role in Spider-Man 3 and wants more money. Spider-Man 3 is leaning into the multiverse here with adding the alleged cast members being Alfred Molina, Emma Stone, Kirsten Dunst, Willem Dafoe, Dane DeHaan, Tom Hardy, Michael Keaton, Thomas Hayden Church, Jake Gyllenhaal, Toby Maguire, and Andrew Garfield, as well as, I believe, Jamie Foxx's character, Static Shock. So if you recognize any of those names, these are all actors who played roles in basically every Spider-Man, whether it's Sony or Marvel. So it'll be interesting to see how they tie those two movie universes together. And the last piece of MCU news here is Thor: Love and Thunder has confirmed Chris Pratt to be playing, his character Star-Lord in the movie, which is set to begin shooting in Australia by January of 2021. So they should be beginning production now, actually. Man, so much Marvel news.
There's always so much Marvel news.
Yes. And you know what else there's always so much news of?
Star Wars.
Lucasfilms and Star Wars. So take us away, brother.
Oh, I got a rumor for us here. Related to the above, one of our Chris's is in the Lucasfilm ecosphere, but Lucasfilm is reportedly interested in Chris Pratt as a younger Indiana Jones. It is believed that Indiana Jones 5 will set up multiple spin-offs, including a possible show on Disney+. That is half and half what I was thinking they were going to do with Indiana Jones, but nonetheless, I knew there was a lot more on the way on that front.
Yeah, that's interesting because Harrison Ford really doesn't want anyone else playing Indiana Jones. So, but he'll be like, isn't he in his 70s or something?
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Yeah, if they're doing a fifth Indiana Jones, I don't really know how he's gonna, be up for the task in his his advanced age, we'll say.
Yeah, I was hoping he would take on the mentor role, and they would just pick a new character that he would mentor and would become the new Indiana Jones. But
yes,
we can always pick younger actors to play older characters. Whatever.
Yeah. Hey, and you may have just done a little foreshadowing of some news to come, but we'll get on that later. We have another rumor for you guys here on the topic of Lucasfilms. It is believed that they are developing a live-action and dark movie based on Order 66, the infamous order to eliminate all Jedi at the end of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The source who has brought this news to our attention, I say our collectively as the public, not literally Show Boys. I wish we were cool enough to have our own sources, but
exclusive.
We are not at this. We definitely are not at this time. But the source who revealed this information also revealed that Ahsoka Tano would be in Mandalorian Season 2, and that Netflix would be developing a Witcher prequel, and both of which have come to fruition. So, this Order 66 rumor, it might have, some legs to it. We'll see. I think it'd be really cool. Allegedly, both Ahsoka and Captain Rex, as you would know from, Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, are rumored to be in the movie. So that will be really cool. I love Captain Rex. He's my homie. So I got pretty excited about this. I'm sure you are also excited.
Yeah, anything fleshing out that period of Star Wars is always good. Some of my favorite stuff right there.
Yes. That our friend Mr. Morrison is a busy man these days.
So busy. High demand. High demand. Moving on. Same subject matter, but another rumor. This one is quite juicy because we got some Kathleen Kennedy, some George Lucas. Anyway,
come on, spill the tea, bro.
Apparently, George Lucas is interested in making his original sequel trilogy based off the ideas he originally had for episodes 7, 8, and 9 that Disney scrapped when they purchased Lucasfilm and the Star Wars IP. This sequel trilogy will not erase or retcon the original sequel trilogy. The original, which is now the new, not original. You
so
guys
many
get
different trilogies.
The usual Star Wars shenanigans with linearness. Anyways, the source being the same as the above, as Mike said, and allegedly, Lucas will only make more Star Wars movies if Kathleen Kennedy is not involved.
Ooh, juicy.
Ooh. They were such close friends though when they did the acquisition, so not sure how much ground they had to stand on, but I could definitely see him doing a 7, 8, and 9. Well, whatever
Would
you
it
want to
be
call
like 10,
them.
11, 12?
No, they would be. I would say they are prequels to 7, 8, and 9.
Prequels to the sequels,
which unfortunately don't have any room in the sequence to be.
So like 6.5, 7.5, 8.5.
It might just have to be like a 3 movie episode 6.5. You know, something really easy to understand. But his original concepts for that take place before what they did with 7, 8, and 9 as Disney. Nice. So there's room there to work with.
It'll be fun naming, meetings there.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see where that rumor goes. There's always some fun, George. Anytime George is spotted on the set of anything, talking to anybody, there's like, he's back. He's going to take over.
Yes. Man. So, like Marvel, like we said, tons of Lucasfilm and Star Wars news, especially this time of year. So, moving along, we have another piece of Lucasfilm and Star Wars.
Welcome to Star
news.
Boys.
That's right, we're back. Episode 5, probably. According to Fandom Wire, which is a website on the internet, Lucasfilm and Disney Plus are in the early stages of developing a Luke Skywalker series set in the Mandalorian timeline. I'm not assuming, I am sure that this is due to the finale of season 2 of Mandalorian, obviously. Spoiler alert, when Luke returns and takes Grogu with him. The large emphasis here on in development as teams are beginning to develop and write. So this means there's no guarantee that the series will be picked up and actually further developed. But it is easy to speculate that it will, given all of the new Star Wars content that The Mandalorian has seemed to open up for us. This wasn't announced at Investor Day, but given how well season 2 of Mandalorian did and how the reception of all of the additional Star Wars series and movies, were received by the fans, I would not put it past Lucasfilm and Disney to capitalize on the Star Wars cash cow and develop this Luke Skywalker series. Now, a fan consensus pick for a young Luke Skywalker, as I'm sure everybody knows, has been Sebastian Stan, who played Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier from the MCU and Captain America's Civil War and Captain America the Winter Soldier and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. He's one name being thrown around for the role of Luke, and I am 100% behind that. I think we've talked about it a few times, and I think we both agree here that he would be a pretty decent pick for the role there.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. And I think they're going to feed into the terrible thing where it's like Luke showed up in Mandalorian, he took Grogu, and everyone's going to be like, well, Luke had a Jedi Academy and that all fell apart. So, what happened? Fill us in. And they're just going to keep going. Anyway, in other Mandalorian related news, the Book of Boba Fett is reportedly a 4-episode miniseries set to hit Disney Plus in December 2021. So it will fill that whole December block, run for likely 4 weeks, and then hopefully we get The Mandalorian season 3 there in the spring or shortly thereafter. And perhaps that might be a reason for the pushback, maybe other reasons for that. We are upset that they did not listen to our companion series for The Mandalorian and decided didn't want to use our idea of Mandalorian being an anthology series. So we're kind of upset about that, but we'll get over it. Maybe they will execute that idea on a different Star Wars IP series. Reportedly, George Lucas is to be more involved in the season 3 of The Mandalorian, more kind of George floating around. It always happens when he's seen in public on set, etc. And this is the more hot rumor floating about, and we've seen many images of it on the interwebs. But Robert Downey Jr. has been talking with Lucasfilm people, specifically John and Dave, perhaps, and people are thinking he might be being set up to be Grand Admiral Thrawn in season 3 of The Mandalorian. Perhaps a Ahsoka spinoff series. There would be a good plug there. No spoilers, but there's definitely room to insert Grand Admiral Thrawn into some sort of series. And Robert Downey Jr., while I was not sure the direction at first, I did see some online renderings, and I'm not mad. Trying to picture him as that character at the same time, like how he would play it. It's a little tough. He would have to definitely shake his previous roles.
Right.
So
it's
I believe he could do it.
Hard to see him not in that like Tony Stark swagger. But again,
Thrawn is pretty swag.
Disney and Star Wars in particular just continuing to suckle on the teat of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, we shall see. He might be something else. He might just be like side character, not important. So from an article dated January 4th, 2021, the limited series Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi began filming last week. While originally being slated to begin production in March, it appears filming has moved up to January. Speculation being the bumping of production due to the legend himself, Tamara Morrison. Being so freaking busy, as always, Morrison is set to appear on the Kenobi series as Commander Cody, the beloved and integral part of the Republic Army in the Clone Wars. In addition to Ewan McGregor and Morrison, Hayden Christensen is slated to return as Darth Vader. So, obviously, Morrison, very busy because he is the face of all the clones. And
I mean, hey, when you sign up to play literally millions of people, like,
yeah,
you kind of brought that on yourself, bro.
I mean, he's probably not mad. He's probably like, oh, yeah, that little role back in 2002. Here comes the money.
Right. Oh, man.
Speaking of Tamara Morrison, go watch the new 1 episode of The Making of The Mandalorian Season 2 on Disney Plus. He has some great parts in it. Great guy.
Side note, I just realized that he was freaking Aquaman's dad in the Aquaman movie.
That's awesome. I need to go watch Aquaman again now.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I literally had no intention of doing this, even though it's going to sound totally like I did. But like, I did not even put together that we're about to get into DC news I just literally remembered that he played the dad in Aquaman.
Hey,
But
here we are.
now that I nailed that super awkward transition, here we are. DC news. We got quite a bit of juicy stuff here. The Snyder cut, Justice League, the Snyder version, that's been clamored for years and years, basically since the release of, the theatrical version that Joss Whedon totally destroyed. It finally has its official title, being Justice League Director's Cut, which is set to release on HBO Max in March of 2021. So we only have a couple more months. I'm really excited to see, if the Snyder Cut holds up to all of its hype. That leads us into the next little piece of news here. There's a new DC report that suggests that they are aiming to release 6 movies a year starting in 2022. The head of DC Films, Walter Hamada, I'll say Hamada because that sounds better, says that they're aiming for 4 theatrical DC movies a year starting in 2022. This is including the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, and 2 movies a year on HBO Max directly to the streaming service. Some projects include Batgirl, Static Shock. Both those movies, I believe, are targeted for HBO Max. We also have the Batman Gotham series and the Suicide Squad Peacemaker spinoff. With all these DC plans, Snyder appears to be out after the Justice League Director's Cut. As Hamada says, the Snyder Cut was a, quote, storytelling cul-de-sac, a street that leads nowhere. I thought that was kind of harsh. And kind of also makes me sad because I kind of wanted to see, the rest of the DCEU kind of go in Snyder's direction, but I'm one in the minority there. Next up in the Hamada news, his interview also unveils a hint at a DC multiverse featuring 2 Batmen, being Robert Pattinson and the rumored return of Michael Keaton's Batman, who is actually slated to appear in the upcoming Flash movie that is supposed to be beginning production in April of 2021. The Flash here is kind of looking to play on the Flashpoint storyline, which cracks open the multiverse, which kind of is a good idea for the train wreck of the DCEU. This kind of gives them limitless possibilities to just do whatever the heck they want. So as a fan, I'm kind of excited. Michael Keaton is reportedly going to be the main Batman of the DCEU and get his own saga. But the article that I read this in said that this actually may not be true, and this news might be due to a miscommunication. However, a source within WB has reported that they are closing in on a deal with Keaton to star in a Batman Beyond film that is going to go straight to HBO Max. It was actually thought to be a series at first, but they switched it up to a movie. Keaton is speculated to be playing the older Bruce Wayne, who is training up his protege, Terry McGinnis, who is reportedly being played by Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, I'm so bad at names. But yeah, I'm real excited that we are going to be getting a live action Batman Beyond, and I love Michael Keaton and so excited that he is coming back. But basically what I read, the DC multiverse here is literally like they said anything you've seen that is a DC movie exists, and anything that you will see exists in this universe. So that opens up literally everything. So kind of exciting. Can't wait for all that stuff to start coming out.
Big news. That's good to see that they're getting. I think the HBO Max thing was the kind of the traction they maybe needed or were waiting for to really kind of get their footing there with DCEU. But that's exciting. Everyone's getting back into the groove.
That's right.
anyways, you're going to do a little bit of a neck break move to a little bit of news here, kind of really out of left field. Didn't really expect this coming, so I like where it's placed at in our little script here. But we are getting a live action Dungeons and Dragons movie. Who would have? Maybe I'm just not in that circle, and they saw it coming. But I definitely did not.
Same. Agreed.
Directed, yeah, right. We're talking about Elder Scrolls, Lord of the Rings, all of it up there, and then all of a sudden they're like,
D&D is
"Hey,
like, wait, what about us?
what about us? We need some shine." So, directed by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. Look at those names, easy
Yeah,
enough.
they actually did a couple good movies though.
Yeah, Game Night and Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yep, people heard of those. People have seen those.
Those are definitely movies.
Starring Chris Pine, another one of our Chris's.
Yes.
What was there, like 5 Chris's?
There's so many Chris's.
All
Chris
good.
Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine. Can never have enough Chris's.
You can never have enough Chris's. No real details yet on the story. I'm sure there's plenty to dive into there over time. I'd be interested to see where that goes. I wonder if it will have like a Warcraft-esque attempt to it. Lots of opportunity there. Not too familiar.
I want to do just a second of speculation here.
Second.
So, have you seen Game Night?
Yes.
Okay. Hilarious comedy. Have you seen Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Yes.
Pretty funny, but I mean, also great superhero movie. I wonder if they're going to go like kind of like a Game Night route where it's people playing Dungeons and Dragons and it's kind of funny, lighthearted, or are they going to go all in with the fantasy role playing stuff and we get like a movie set in Dungeons and Dragons?
Now you're thinking. That really makes me place Chris Pine in this much better.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah, I see that now more.
Who knows? We'll find out in time, I guess.
In time.
But yeah, sticking with the game related news as our last little piece here for you guys, in actual video game news. So we're kind of switching up a little bit, but sales are up to almost $180 billion per year, which blows my mind. That's insane.
Wrecked.
The headline of this article actually says something along the lines of video games making more money than sports and movies combined, which also mind-blowing. But video games here are expected to rake in $197.7 billion in 2020, which is up about 20% from 2019. The most shocking piece of news in this article is mobile gaming is projected to bring in $87.7 billion in 2020, which out of everything, that literally blows my mind.
That's gross.
Yeah, I mean, I love video games, but like making more money than sports currently, I totally understand, but sports and movies combined, that's crazy. And the last little piece of gaming news here, as you all know, my favorite movie, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, also has an amazing side-scrolling beat-em-up game that was released way back in the day when the movie first came out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Well, I found out that the game is being re-released this week per Ubisoft's website, and I believe it is coming to all platforms, including Steam. So I'm super stoked to get back into this game because it was super fun, and I'm excited that those of you who missed it on the original release, and yes, I'm talking to you, Nick, will have a chance to play this amazing game that has an absolutely killer soundtrack by the amazing Chiptune. I guess that would probably be the best way to describe them. The Chiptune band, Anna Monoguchi. The soundtrack to this game is absolutely amazing. It's so fun. I've listened to it many, many, many times. But this is set in the comic universe of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Yeah, must play. You should definitely buy it when it comes out. First time around was amazing, so I'm sure they probably made some optimization improvements to it this time around. Trust me, you'll have fun.
I might have to pick it up. 99 cents on Steam, right?
I don't know if it's 99 cents, but it's not full price for a game, so I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it's like between 10 and 15.
Well, that was a good lineup of news, and we are well over and out of time. So,
yes.
Once again, thank you for joining us. We hope you found this both entertaining and informative. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe everywhere you consume our content. Find all the places we publish content on our link tree.
linktr.ee/showboyspodcast.
And if you have anything you would like us to cover in more detail from this episode, or include in the show here going forward, since this is a new series that we're releasing, Newscast, we would love your feedback. So please comment where available or email us at showboyspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, thank you again, like Nick said, and we're testing the waters here on a new type of show for Showboys. We figured all of our regular episodes are marathons to get through, and we thought it would be fun to kind of bring you guys the news with not really many opinions and rabbit trails. So, like Nick said, if anything from this episode sounds like something you'd love to hear us really go in on, let us know and we will do just that. And that's kind of also a goal of this series, is to give us ideas for future episodes, because we could probably have an episode on like every single piece of news that dropped here. Thank you again, and we hope you enjoyed. Until next time. Wow, we need to think of like a catchy phrase to sign out with, but we don't have one. So
no, we should just digress for the next like 20-30 minutes and like talk about Star Wars,